special segment on cybersecurity. As technology advances, cyber threats are becoming more sophisticated and frequent, posing a significant risk to individuals, companies, and governments alike. To stay ahead of these threats, a crucial component of cybersecurity is threat intelligence. Joining me today is Ameer Hawa, an expert in threat intelligence. Ameer will help us understand the importance of threat intelligence in today's digital landscape. Welcome to the Boardroom Forum Live, Ameer. So, Ameer, what is threat intelligence?
It's a very good question. Threat intelligence is very important because it allows us to gather existing or potential cyber threats, measures activities. It also helps organizations to understand the current threats that are out there or potential cyber threats. By understanding threat intelligence, it also allows organizations to understand the threats that are out there. It allows them to defend and also make proactive measures to protect them, which is why threat intelligence is very important.
Perhaps let's elaborate a little bit more on the importance of threat intelligence.
So it allows organizations to stay ahead of cyber criminals. As I mentioned earlier as well, to understand the cyber threat landscape that is out there. It also allows organizations to understand the threat actors' motives, tactics, techniques, and procedures. It's also good to notice, however, it's also good to understand that threat actors use threat intelligence as an advantage, which is why we need to understand their motives behind the attack.
Okay, so threat actors. How does a threat actor then use threat intelligence to target organizations? Maybe we can get a little bit more detail in that.
So there's various ways that threat actors normally use threat intelligence to target organizations. So threat actors would normally identify vulnerabilities in the organization's cyber defenses. By identifying vulnerabilities, they identify or gather detailed information about the organization's network structure, the employee roles, employee information. This allows them to then plan more precise and effective attacks. Lastly, as well, threat actors normally use threat intelligence to gather information about the employees' behavior methods, communication pattern as well, because it allows them to perform social engineering attacks. So what I mean by social engineering attacks is more like a phishing email, sending a fraudulent email. Now, recently, we've seen take a lot of online platforms where people will send a fake URL that you've won this 500 in voucher, for example. So this would be like your social engineering attacks that threat actors use.
Okay, so to effectively counter these threats, what types of threat intelligence can organizations leverage?
So we get 4 types of threat intelligence: strategic, operational, tactical, and technical. So strategic focuses on a high level. This is where we provide a threat landscape to the organization. Operational focuses on TTPs. As well, it gives you a deep understanding of a threat landscape. Then we get tactical. Tactical focuses on the TTPs, your tactics, technical, and procedures on how the threat actors would use it to perform attacks. Technical focuses on specific clues or evidence that's left behind on a cyber attack. This normally focuses on indicators of compromise, which normally consists of reported IP addresses, malware samples, or fraudulent URLs.
Okay, so basically we're saying it's strategic, operational, technical, and tactical. But you spoke a lot about TTPs. Perhaps let's elaborate a little bit more around TTPs.
So tactical is very high level. This is more like initial access. How does the threat actor gain access to the environment, and how does it move laterally onto the environment? Then we get technical. Technical determines what type of actions they're going to take, more like providing a fraudulent email or phishing attempt. And technical is the actions that they take or methods that they take to achieve this objective. So they'll send an email with a fraudulent image, for example, and it would open this and it would give them access to the environment.
Okay. What have you found to be the most common sources of threat intelligence currently?
So people don't take very importance to threat intelligence. And what we've noticed that people take threat to ransomware. We've noticed that a ransomware group by name called Akira has been targeting the financial and mining industry, and a lot of these people fall victim to ransomware.
Okay. So what are some of the risks that you identified during your cybersecurity engagements, and what do you normally find on the dark web? I'm always interested in these almost want to say war stories?
This is a very interesting question. So a lot of organizations or employees use their work email addresses to register for third-party applications for online platforms such as Takealot, Shein, and they would use their email address as well as the account password that they use in the organization. Now, say for example, these applications get breached. Hackers often sell or trade these login credentials and use them to exploit the organization. On the dark web, we find a lot of nice things and bad things. We find illegal activities and valuable insights. We normally find stolen data, stolen compromised credentials. Hackers often sell these type of breach login credentials. We find credit card information. We find physical addresses. So having credit card information and identity documents, threat actors can then leverage, can do payments online, can create a fake online social media presence of yourself, using sock puppets, pretending to be someone else on your behalf and steal information. We also get malware and exploits. The cyber criminals often sell ransomware, malware, and exploits so it can prevent organization defense to break down.
So, Ameer, given all the risks you've uncovered and the threats identified through threat intelligence, would I then be correct in saying that threat intelligence needs to be a critical part of your cybersecurity strategy?
Yes, it is, because it allows organizations to keep ahead of cyber criminals, the threats that are out there. It allows you to identify the TTPs that I mentioned earlier, your tactics, technical, and procedures. It allows you to identify any compromised credentials and other potential threats that is there on the dark web. It allows you to improve your incident response and reduce potential impacts. And lastly, allow you to identify any vulnerabilities or weaknesses that the threat actor can exploit.
Okay, thank you, Ameer, for joining us today. This brings us to the end of the third episode in our four-part series on cybersecurity. During our first episode, we covered cybersecurity and AI. We then moved on to third-party risk. Today, we covered threat intelligence, and our final episode will cover a little more around cloud security. Thank you for joining us today.